You're on mute.
All righty, everyone. Hello, welcome. So
Hey,
good
how
to see
you?
so many of you here. Hey, Craig. All righty, lots and lots of you here. I just thought I would let everybody come in, have a bit of space to get ready and get settled. But it seems like a lot of people have joined already. So we're going to get started. And obviously, this is being recorded. So for those who have to drop off at any stage, don't worry, you're going to get the recording. Just make sure that I've got your email address and that you want the recording. Just send me a message and I can get that sent over to you. But I think everybody that's on this call, I know who you are. I have your details. You're on my list, so no problem about that. Okay, so this, like I said, I'm going to get straight into it. There's going to be lots and lots of impactful stuff today. But one of the things that comes up often when people talk about AI and ChatGPT, and whenever I'm having conversations with people about this, is that it seems to be incredibly overwhelming for everybody. There's so many tools, there's so many options available. There's just so many updates and so many new things that can happen. And there's like, people selling these 1,000-page prompts and 1,000 prompt sheets, and you're not sure if you should get onto that track or if you should, sign up for ChatGPT or for Claude or for Grok or for all of the above all at once. And what is it that you do with it once you're there? So I'm really going to help you, remove all of that overwhelm and get you into a position where you're able to start using ChatGPT, but also create quality outputs. A lot of people have also said to me that they're using ChatGPT or they're using one of the other options, and it's just, it's okay, it's not great, or it doesn't give them exactly what it is that they want. So in today, I'm really going to help you, look at ChatGPT and AI and think about it strategically. I want to help you get some really quick wins in a very short space of time. And I'm actually going to share with you the only 2 prompts that you need to get real great results. Only 2 prompts. So we're going to remove all the overwhelm. There's only two prompts that you're going to need. And that's going to make things really simple for you. And those 2 prompts you're going to be able to use for multiple, in fact, anything. The other thing that we're going to look at is we're going to really focus on, if you're not on mute, just please mute yourself. Let's just see if there's anybody here. Just please mute yourself if you aren't on mute yet. But the other thing that we're going to look at is, how to use ChatGPT without having to be a tech nerd. You don't have to be technical to use this tool and to get some great results. A lot of C-suite leaders or senior executives, you're in a position where you've done lots of leadership. You've shown people how to use, you've led people who needed to have the technical know-how, and now you have to step into this space where you're going to have to approach this new tool and harness this new tool, leverage it without having all the background experience of how to use technical things. But you know how to use the internet, so you definitely know how to use ChatGPT. So also at the end, make sure that you stick around. We're gonna try and get through as much as possible in the next 60 minutes. And at the end of that, there will be about 30 minutes to just muting people as I hear them. There will be about 30 minutes just to play around and to ask questions and to, for me to help you with coaching. A lot of using ChatGPT and AI tools has actually really down to some of the mindset pieces, right? Is this going to, the big one, is this going to steal my job? It's also, is this cheating if I use ChatGPT for these kinds of things? What if I get it wrong? Is this, going to make me lazy? Is this going to, make me stop thinking? All of those questions come up. So we can tackle some of those towards the end. But I'm going to make the first part of this really, really practical for you. But the first thing that I'd like you to do is I'm going to do a poll, just make sure that it works. And I'm going to ask you a couple questions. So I'd like you to answer this question. How would you describe your current use of AI tools like ChatGPT? So what you're going to do is in the chat, you're just going to say, A, you haven't touched it yet. B, you've dabbled a bit, but you're still not confident. C, you use it regularly, but not strategically. Or D, advanced, using automation. You're actually using automation. So just in the chat, write A, B, C, D, and we're going to find out where everybody's at, A, B, C, or D. Let's have a look and see. Is this going to work for us today? Oh, it's working. That's interesting. Okay, I'm using a new tool And you know, when you use new tools, sometimes they just don't work. So I'm going to just have a quick look. All right, most people looks like they're at C or D, dabbled. Let's remove that for a second. Alrighty. Great. So we've got most people who are in the dabbling space, but not necessarily using it strategically, but in that space where you've got it, you're using it, but not necessarily getting the results that you're looking for, or using it to reimagine your work. So for those of you who don't know me, I know that some of you I have worked with and some of you I haven't, but for those of you who don't know me yet, I am an executive coach. I've worked with senior C-suite executives for a long time, and I really help them with clarity, I help them with confidence, and I help them with productivity. And over the last 18 months, I've actually been using ChatGPT and other AI tools for my personal productivity. And I've really started to get some great results from it. As I've been using it, I started off dabbling, but as I've been using it, ChatGPT specifically has been building up memory of me. And as it builds up that memory, it starts to give me better results. But I want to also show you how you can harness that faster, create that memory faster, and do it more accurately to get you even better quality outputs. So, you know, if you're not using the tools yet, or if you don't know how to use it yet, don't worry. You're not behind, but this is the day to start using it more strategically and start using it as a huge opportunity. So, you know, for a lot of people, like I mentioned, AI feels quite overwhelming. There are so many tools, there are so many updates, and just so much to learn. And a lot of people say to me, well, which one should I choose? Which applications, which tools are you using? Which ones should I use? And if you're just getting started out, I would say pick one of the big LLMs. So there's Gemini and Claude and ChatGPT and Grok and DeepSeek. I would say pick one. And this is all about ChatGPT, so we're going to be focusing on ChatGPT today, because I just think if you pick one, you can build up memory, you can build up your expertise with using it, you can start to create a system within it, and you're going to harness the benefits faster, rather than the switching, because you know our brain, if we start to switch our brain into different applications and different tools, that starts to create a whole problem all in and of itself, basically. So what we want to do is we want to reduce that switching and rather just focus on one if we can. When you're starting to get some really good strategic results from this one, then absolutely add some other tools. So we're just going to focus in on ChatGPT today. And I want you to think of using AI in two phases of AI fluency. So the first one is how you can use this tool for some quick wins. How can you start getting back some time today, or increasing your conversion rates, or increasing your revenue, or you know, lowering costs by using this tool right now? What are some of the quick wins? And then also the second phase is really about how do you reimagine your work? How do you reimagine your specific work that you're focusing on, but also how do you reimagine the work of your organization? That is a very strategic position to be in. And very often, you know, we can always look at this from an 80-20 perspective. 80% of our time is probably spent on the tasks and the things that's getting 20% of our results. So let's get some of that time back on that 80% spend on some of the quick wins, creating some repeatable actions and systems using ChatGPT to start getting that time back so that you can start focusing on the 20% tasks that's getting you 80% of the results. Sometimes we don't even know what that is. So doing that work is going to be incredibly important too. So I'm going to do another quick poll, and obviously the poll isn't working, but I also want to just quickly gather from everybody I'm going to put it on the screen, but what is your biggest blocker right now with using AI tools regularly? So A, you don't know where to start if you haven't started yet. B, you don't trust the output. C, you don't have the time to learn it. D, you worry about privacy and confidentiality. Or E, maybe you forget to use it. And if there's anything else, just put that in the comments as well, just so that I can know. What is your biggest blocker using AI tools regularly? And getting the outputs that you're specifically looking for. So don't know where to start, don't have time to learn it. Yeah, lots of time. Confidentiality and privacy, that's a big one for sure. Using Copilot and other tools, yeah, for sure. Lisa, thank you for sharing that. Use ChatGPT daily, knowing, so it's about knowing what else I can do with it. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's one of the things that I'm going to also talk about is ethics of using other people's work. Really interesting. There's going to be so much conversation around the ethics of using this. I think there's going to, we're going to start to open up, um, a lot more conversation around this, and then also having this agreed and shared meaning of what and how we can use it. I think there's going to be a lot of what's the word? Trial and error. And we're going to have to be really kind with each other if we make mistakes or if it is used in an incorrect way. But that's going to really help us to go, okay, let's reel it in and let's try something else that's going to be better. Also, when we're using these new tools, one of the concepts and the principles that I always have is use it on an experimentation basis. What is it, what can you use it for that it would be safe to fail with? And then when you're doing that, then it actually gives you a lot more scope to play around. It's safe to fail, but also you're pushing the boundaries of what might be possible for you. Underwhelmed by a lot of the results, particularly on image video generation. Guess I need to pay for the better tools. Absolutely. I think at the moment, the image and video generation is at a certain level. It's not quite where it is yet. I personally use ChatGPT mostly for content-specific things, but also as decision partnering. But I'll talk to you a little bit about that shortly as well. All right, so let's remove that. Oh, that's not the right one. I'm using new tools, by the way. So like I said, safe to fail. The worst thing that can happen is that you will laugh at me and then we go home, but you're going to get some really great value from this today anyway. So I just want to give you a really quick heads up. We're always selling something, aren't we? But I'm not going to go into full sales mode. But if today really resonates for you, there is really one specific way that I can help you. And that is to, I'm offering a new service, which is called the Mega Day. So what that means is I will book a one-to-one mega day with you. And what we're going to do is we're going to audit your calendar. We're going to streamline everything that's in it. And then we're also going to be able to create a built-in and build a custom AI productivity system specifically for you. So if you want to know about that mega day, a lot of people say to me, they don't have time. And like you said earlier, we don't have time to implement all of these things and to play around with it. But if we can get everything set up for you based on your specific role, your specific tasks, do it in one day so that you hit the ground running, then you basically just get it all done and you're getting the outputs that you're looking for in one single day. The pricing of that mega day is going to be return on investment based. So if you don't see a return on your time and the investment, you don't have to pay, which is great, right? So I'm going to make sure that you're going to get at least 15 hours back every single month, but it's going to be for sure more than that. So if you want more information, just hit me up afterwards with an email and we can send you that information. The one thing that I think is so important about using AI and using ChatGPT and using these tools is this is not a tool. This is about you and how you think. We are no longer in a knowledge economy. We do not need to know stuff anymore. If you think about it, a human knows they will read about 200 books in their lifetime. Some maybe more, and some may read less. But the average human is going to read 200 books in a lifetime. But knowledge is now cheap because ChatGPT is trained on the equivalent of millions of books, millions of research studies, millions of pieces of information. So the edge that we used to have on what we knew is no longer the case at all. It's not about what we know anymore. We're not going to have to recall information as much as we used to. We're not going to be the knowledge gurus. What we are going to need to know how to do is how to think. And that's different from knowing, right? Thinking is about asking questions. It's about taking different opinions and putting them together, being more creative, shifting the way that we think about certain concepts, opening our mind to possibilities. Very often, we might be using ChatGPT to polish our emails, but actually it can do way more than that. So we need to be able to think and expand our minds to what might be possible. This is really going to open up your mind to imagining again and dreaming again, dreaming bigger, thinking about all of the possibilities that might not have been possible before, because we often say to ourselves, well, that's not realistic. Actually, when you start to use a tool like AI, some of these things might now be possible for you. And it's time for you to start thinking on that level. And I also know that, a tool like ChatGPT is really a reflection of your thinking. So the more you use it, the better you're also going to get at thinking. The other thing that I want you to just consider as well, because there might be resistance either from yourself that with using ChatGPT, whether that's subconscious or not, or there might be resistance with your team in using these kinds of tools. I want you to think of AI and ChatGPT like electricity or internet. Back in the day when, not that you were there when electricity first came around, but back in the day before the internet, there was a lot of resistance when it was launched and with people actually using it, and it took a long time for people to start to adopt it. But if you look back and if you were to consider, if that came to you as an option to use it, you were one of the first that was able to use the internet or to gain access to electricity, you would jump on it. You would absolutely embrace it, and you would harness it and leverage and use it because you know now how powerful it is. And that's the same with ChatGPT and AI. So don't wait to get access to it. Don't wait to start playing with it, but start playing with it in a way that feels comfortable for you, that just stretches your boundaries on some safe to fail things. All right, now we're going to get into the practical part. If anybody has also any questions along the way, any insights, any comments, I'm really curious and open to hear your thoughts. When I speak to people about AI and ChatGPT and all of these, new things, it's fascinating, because what I've also found is that people use ChatGPT very differently. Everybody has their different setup, and it's all personalized to them. And this is going to be the same for you. I'm going to show you some things, but you're going to create a new way of working with it that's completely personalized to you and how you work and how you get the best results from it. So keep that in mind. Like I said, if you have any insights as to how you use it, please don't stop yourself from sharing that in the comments. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and we're going to actually, like I said, do something incredibly practical with ChatGPT. So I need to move this way. Okay, you can all see me still, right? Thumbs up if you got your video on. Fantastic, you're still alive. All right, so this is a ChatGPT screen, and this is actually a test account that I use. So it's not my personal account. So you'll see it giving some outputs that may not be aligned to who I specifically am. One of the first questions that people often ask is, which ChatGPT plan should I pick? There's Plus, there's Team, there's Enterprise, there's Pro. My recommendation, this is my recommendation, obviously go and do your research and make sure that you find out. Plus is really great if you're starting out and you're using it for personal use or as a single person in a small business, but make sure that you're off of the free and you get Plus. You're going to get so much value from using a paid for version. There's a team version, and that's if you're working within a team, within a small team. The team data, it gives you more privacy and security. So by default, the team data that's shared on all of the accounts within the team is actually switched off by default. So it's not going to train AI models, but I'm also going to show you how to make sure that that's not happening for you too. And then Enterprise will give you that enterprise grade security and privacy. By the way, I sound a little bit like I'm selling ChatGPT here. I'm really not. I don't have any affinity to them. I don't get any, what's the word, commissions, although I probably should, right? I don't have any of that. I just, want to help you to choose and select the right entry point. The pro version is, that's the $200 a month version that gives you access to deep research. I think unless you're a PhD candidate who is needing this deep research, it may not be the right offer for you. You can also get some really great outputs by using this deep research tool and also using a prompt enhancer. And I'm going to show you what a prompt enhancer is in a moment. Okay. But that's the first question. Which ChatGPT should you pick? Those are the 3 options that I would recommend. The first thing when you are going into ChatGPT, now there's multiple levels here, but the first thing that you want to make sure that you've done, and I'm going to skim over these things. If you want to go into this deeper, please feel free to ask me questions and we can chat about this at the end. But the first thing that you want to make sure is that you have done your custom instructions. So you're going to click into your profile and you're going to customize ChatGPT. And this is so that you can introduce yourself to get better and more personalized responses. This is a really simple way to get information about you, how you work, what you're working on, who you are, what it is that you do, and also the traits and the style and the tone and the way of thinking that is important to you. So I've filled this in already, as you can see, but I'm actually going to give you, after this session, I'm going to give you this custom GPT, which is called a leadership custom instructions coach. And all you're going to need to do is to click on it. It's a custom GPT that I've created, and you're going to say, help me create my custom instructions for ChatGPT. And then it's going to take you through exactly what it needs from you to get your custom instructions. So this is going to be so simple. You're just going to enter all of the information in here, and it's going to give you what you need to add in these fields. People just don't do this stuff because it takes time. This is going to be fast. Just do exactly what it's asking of you. You're going to learn a little bit about yourself at the same time. So really it's asking me, what should ChatGPT call me? So I'm going to tell it must call me Terez. And then click. And then it's going to say, it's going to give me some suggestions, which I can just ignore. But it says, what do you do? And I'm going to just, I've actually prepared some of this already so that you don't have to watch me typing out all of my information. And I'm just going to say, I've copied and pasted it in here. And it says what I do. So here's the revised custom instruction field. That's what I do. And it's less than 860 characters. The thing about the custom instructions over here, when you go customize, these bigger sections need to be, all of these sections need to be less than 1,500 characters. So it's going to ask me all those questions. It's going to say, what are the traits? I'm just doing this really quickly and copying and pasting so that you can see what the end output would be and then how you can use it in your custom instructions section. So it's telling me that those are the traits. Any suggestions to make it even better? It's asking me questions. The next one is, what would you like ChatGPT to know about you to provide better responses? And then I'm just going to, again, copy and paste. And it's going to come up with the revised custom instructions. And then here it comes up with my final custom instructions ready to copy. Here it is. What should ChatGPT call you? What do you do? What traits? And all I then need to do is copy each of these sections. I'm not going to do all of it now, but I just need to copy each of these sections into the pieces right here and click save. And then it's going to just have this overview about me already that's going to give it a little bit more of that clarity that it may not have had originally. Because if you're going to start using it without doing the custom instructions, it's just going to give you like general overview stuff that it thinks you're going to need. But this makes it more specific. All right, so that's custom instructions, the first thing to do. The other thing to keep in mind, I'm also just going to go over some of these pieces really, really quickly, some of the most important parts, right? So the personalization piece, you want to keep custom instructions on. You also want to make sure that it references saved memories. Now, I was saying earlier that I've used ChatGPT for 18 months, but I noticed as they started to improve the memory of it, I started to get better and better results because it started to know me, and then it started to reference some of the things that I use in my day-to-day, like my RAF formula. It brings that into some of the content that I produce with ChatGPT. So make sure that that's switched on. And also you can go and manage your memories here. So this is, like I said, a playing around, it's a playing around GPT. So it's got this saved memory, but this, in my personal account, it has memory that goes all the way down to the point that, in fact, it's now telling me that my memory is now almost full. But you can then, delete these memories if they're no longer true or helpful for you. It's really helpful to know that. Speech, this is really, just if you want to choose a voice, and I'll talk to you about voice and speech and how you can use that later. And then data controls. This here, it's if you have a team account, and this is part of a team account, it actually has this switched off automatically. But if you have a plus account, it may not be switched off. So make sure, I would just recommend, if you're worried about privacy and security, switch this off. Make sure it is off, that you're not improving the model for everyone. It just means that this data that you input into here is not actually being used to train the AI model. Shared links are those, if you've shared specific links in, for instance, if I were to share this, I can share this with someone as a link, and it will then get stored in that specific place as a link that's shared, which you can then delete so that nobody has access to it later from a security perspective. Build a profile will be your custom GPT. If you start to create custom GPTs, that would be your profile here. And then connected apps, you can now connect it automatically to either Google Drive if you're a Google person, or Microsoft OneDrive. So it's so much easier to then share documents between it. And then you can just connect with it here. And then security, you will probably want to enable multi-factor authentication. And this is where you need to log out of all devices. Like I said, just going through some of these things really quickly, but just to give you a brief overview. There's another couple of things that are sometimes quite helpful is if you click here, temporary chats, on the mobile, it actually just shows this icon. But if you click it, it then creates a completely temporary chat where the memory is disabled and it won't appear in your history. This is really great for diagnosing ailments. If you don't want, I'm saying that because I'm actually just laughing at myself. If you want to ask it a question, a personal question, but you don't want it to train or create memory on anything that is happening in your work-related place, you can ask it here. It's not going to hold it to memory, and it's not going to appear in your history. So once you've finished that chat, it will be gone. The next piece that I think is incredibly helpful is to set up projects. Now, you've probably heard of custom GPTs, where you can input a request and suddenly it will output what it is that you're looking for. I think the way that I like to use custom GPTs, or to think about custom GPTs, is, and that's the one that I shared with you earlier, which that's an example of one, is the leadership custom instructions GPT. You have access to it. You can go in, and it's been trained to walk you through the steps to get the custom instructions for you based on what you input into it. So it's not telling me anything about you. You're using it, but it's all working within your ChatGPT account. So I think custom GPTs are really great if you want to share the repeatable process with other people. So for instance, you may want to use a custom GPT for an onboarding process in your organization, or for the travel policies. Moderna, the big medical company, massive company, they have created for their organization, they've created 700 custom GPTs for them to use internally. So custom GPTs are an incredibly powerful tool for other people to access the same repeatable process. However, projects are for you. If it's not going to be shared, if it's not going to be accessed by anybody else, and you don't need it to be accessed by anybody else. It's just going to be for you and your work. I think projects are a better way to use them. It'll give you the same level of output as a custom GPT would. So what you're going to, I'm going to give you an example of how to use projects and custom GPTs in a second, but I just want to share with you, I'm just going around the place here just to show you what some of these things are. The last thing that I want to share with you is tasks. And tasks are for creating recurring requests or recurring reminders. It will send you a push notification, and it's really great for, initiating a new habit. For instance, don't let me forget to stretch every day. So if you give it that task, it's going to actually send you a reminder either by email or a push notification. You've obviously got to add on your notifications. I'm not a big fan of notifications, by the way, so I wouldn't recommend that you do that. I would recommend you send it by email, but it's essentially going to send you a reminder every day. But it might be helpful for some other things. Like you said, no, I'm not going to allow that. All right, so those are tasks. And like I said, I want you to think how you can use these different functions for you, for the work that you do, how you can personalize it for you. It's going to be different for everybody. So I'm giving you the overview, and then you can make it your own. All right. Now I want to share with you the 2 prompts that you will need. The only 2 prompts that you will need. And we're going to use them. It's going to be incredibly meta. I'll tell you in a second why. Very like meta, because we're going to use a prompt to create a prompt. It's called a prompt generator. And I'm going to share with you this ChatGPT for executive templates. You're going to have access to this afterwards. I'll send it to you on email. And it's going to give you access to all of these things that I'm going to speak about now. So the first one is the prompt generator. This is actually the only prompt that you ever need to create a high quality prompt that's going to give you precise and powerful results from ChatGPT. So the reason why this is so meta is because it is essentially going to create the prompt for you. But it's going to ask you questions to turn you into a prompt engineer so that it can create a very powerful prompt. The biggest problem with ChatGPT and AI is actually we don't prompt it well. We don't give it a really good enough, detailed enough prompt. And also, we think that if we ChatGPT is set to be very concise, so it shortens things. Whereas this prompt generator is actually going to build out your prompt to make it nice and long. Don't be afraid of a long and detailed prompt. If you think about it, it's kind of like briefing someone to do a job, briefing a design agency to create your brand profile, or creating a briefing document. The longer you get, the more detailed, the more information it is. And ChatGPT can handle all of that information. It's just going to help you build that information out. So what you're going to do, you're just going to copy and paste this full prompt below. It's going to ask you some questions, and at each iteration, it's going to rewrite the prompt, give you some suggestions, and then also further questions to make it even better. I'm not going to go through the full iteration of this, but I'm going to show you how to use it. So I've come here and I've just copied the whole prompt, copy to clipboard. I type it in here, and then I'm going to press run. And then it's going to ask you, what should this prompt be about? And we're going to do a prompt for, we're actually, you know what? We're going to use this to create, this is why I said it's going to be meta. So stick with me here. If this is getting too confusing, just let me know. But we're going to use this prompt generator to create a prompt to create a custom GPT for an onboarding process for an organization, right? So there we go. That's what we're going to say. We're going to say create a custom GPT for my insurance business, apparently, for the onboarding process for new hires. Okay. So what we're going to do is create a custom GPT that's going to be then be shared with people. Any new hires, they can go to that custom GPT, they can ask it questions, and they can get information about the organization. Instead of them having to go to HR, they can just go to the custom GPT, or asking you, like, where do I go for this? Or where do I go for that? Or how many days leave do I get every year? It will all be in the custom GPT. So once it does that, this is how powerful this prompt is. So it rewrites the prompt, the rewritten prompt, and it's going to, you're here to generate a comprehensive tailored prompt that will power a custom GPT designed specifically for the onboarding process of new hires in an insurance business. A smart interactive assistance that helps new employees get up to speed quickly and confidently, reduce onboarding time, improve knowledge retention, provide a supportive self-serve experience that complements and not replaces human-led onboarding. So it's going to have these core capabilities. It's really gone full out. Like I said, don't be worried about a long prompt. It's giving detail. But what you want to do as the human is to read through all of these things and make sure that you agree with it. Make sure that you have that final check on if this is what it is that you want. And if not, then make improvements. Tell it how you want it to improve. Tell ChatGPT the specific words you want to use. It's also going to give you, this prompt is amazing. It's going to give you further suggestions to improve the prompt. Maybe you want to segment the onboarding by role, whether that's sales agents, claims assessors, and underwriters, because they've all probably got different levels. And that might spark your thinking and go, yes, actually, we have different, people levels within our organization, and they've all got different, bonus allocations and leave allocations. So let's separate that out. Referencing real internal documents. So yes, pull from our onboarding plan or our employee handbook. You can, when you are creating the custom GPT, you can actually add in some of that documentation, like your employee handbook and all of the policy documents that you have, add it all into your custom GPT, and it will access that information for you. These are also then questions to refine the prompt further. Remember, I told you, this is going to help you think. It's not going to stop you from thinking. It's going to help you think more, better, more detailed. It's going to help you go through your thinking so that you can actually create better results, get better outputs much faster. You know, sometimes we think of speed, but we also forget about quality. This can do both, better quality and speed. All right, so it's going to ask you all of these questions. You know, should the GPT reference or integrate with other tools and processes, etc. So this prompt, you're going to answer these questions. You're going to go through all of this. You're going to check the suggestions, and you're going to input whatever it is into here. You know, whatever questions or whatever answers you want to give it, and it's going to refine the prompt, and then it's going to revise this rewritten prompt. After a few steps, you can say, actually, it's done, like the brief is done now. You're then going to highlight this whole prompt. Remember that we haven't gone through this whole process, but you're going to highlight this revised prompt. You're going to copy it, and you're going to create your custom GPT. Like I said, this is very meta. We're creating custom GPTs to, we're using a prompt generator to create a prompt to create a custom GPT. So then you're going to just add in the prompt right here, and it's going to start to create your custom GPT from that brief that you've just developed. It just keeps it really, it keeps it from the overwhelm, right? That there's, you know, do I need to be a tech person to do this? Absolutely not. You just need to know how to think, and you need to have the right prompts available to you, and you need to not be afraid of creating long, lengthy prompts. Okay, so this is going to get to work in the background. I mean, it's starting to create all of these things, and it's saying, okay, upload all of these example use cases. It's really giving so much information. You just go through the process, and it's going to create an amazing custom GPT you can use for onboarding really quickly. All right, so that's how you create a custom GPT, and also how you use the prompt generator prompt, available to you afterwards. The next prompt that is incredibly powerful is the reverse prompt. The reverse prompt is to reverse engineer something that you like something that's incredible, and to create the prompt that created that thing in the first place. Told you, very meta, like really like multiple levels. Anyway, lots of fun. So you're going to find a source piece of content that could be a blog post, a social post, spreadsheet, document, and you're going to copy this prompt, the reverse prompt, into ChatGPT to be able to reverse engineer what it is that you have created or what you're accessing. So I'm going to actually add from Google Drive a document that I have here, and I'm going to say it's a board pack, the Scale XP. It's just a dummy board pack that I found online. And we upload that. We've got the reverse prompt. And then okay, there we go. Now it's uploaded. So I've used integrated custom Google Drive to access that document. And then I press go, and suddenly it's going to reverse engineer and create a prompt for me. Oh, but first, it's going to ask me some of these questions. Like, what do I love most about the content is, I'm going to say, the level of detail. It's going to ask me some questions because the more, like I said, this is about you, your thinking. This is where your power is, right? Is your nuance and the input that you're going to be able to give it. That's what you're going to start to train on. Who is this audience for? I'm going to say board members and executive team. Oh, no, not the excessive team. I mean, sometimes that's the case, but just the executive team this time around. But it's all of these prompts that I've created for you is going to ask you more questions so that you're using and harnessing your brain to give it the best piece of information. To highlight the latest financial results in a informative way. It's going to be in a slide format and PDF pre-read. Okay. Just so you know, the output of this is going to, when you use these prompts, it's going to respond in a slightly different way because you will have memory that it's referencing from. So it might actually be a bit more specific when it's asking some of these questions. When I test this out on my other one, when I tested this prompt out, or when I used this prompt on my other what is it called? Account, it actually is very different, the output, or even the questions that it's asking. Any specific patterns or frameworks? Nothing. Okay, so then it's going to create the prompt. It's reverse engineered the document that I uploaded, which was a slide document that had various different headings, and it's going to give me this output that I can then copy and paste and create something from it. So I'm going to let's just see. So I'm going to highlight this whole thing, and what we're going to do, because we're going to use this to now create a project, which is going to be our board pack, our monthly board pack. We're going to use this prompt to give it the instructions to create the monthly board pack, our monthly board pack. So this is how a project works really well. If you focus on something, and I mean, obviously you're not going to be doing the whole board pack. It's normally divvied up between your team. But if there's a specific version or a specific content piece within it that you want to create every single month, you would create a project for that. And then you would give it instructions like I said, we've just created the reverse engineered prompt for that. It's not correct. We haven't checked it, by the way, but we've just created the reverse engineered prompt for it. And now if we input information, it's going to create the board pack for us. If we give it some information. So this is what we're going to do is we're going to, now that we've given it instructions, you might want to also add files as example or reference data that it needs to pull from. But I'm going to just say here, what am I actually going to say? I'm going to say, I've actually tested this already. And I'm going to say create a board pack for Admiral Group PLC, actual company, based on the latest financial report on Companies House UK. And I'm going to ask this piece, which is a prompt. It's a prompt enhancer. I'll tell you a little bit about prompt enhancers shortly, but just stick with me here. It says, ask me 3 clarifying questions one at a time to understand the context before generating anything. Then we press go, and suddenly it's going to ask me a few questions. So I'm just going to copy paste for now. Like I said, I asked it to ask me 3 clarifying questions. And let's just enter all of that. Or all of the above. Now it's going to search the web for Admiral Group PLC on Companies House, and it's going to get all of this information, and it's going to structure it in the way that I want it structured based on the reverse prompt that I created based on the board pack that I had used as a reference point. It's going to give me all of this information. It structured it in that document the way that it had structured it previously. Obviously, again, please go and check your information and make sure that it's correct. But it's going to do so much of the heavy lifting, and it's going to get so much information for you. You're not going to pull from your Companies House information. You're going to pull from the information that your organization has created. But that is a way to create projects and to use projects to create tasks that are repeatable and you can use them over and over again. So that is also the reverse prompt. The other piece that I've spoken about are prompt enhancers. And these are really just to, if you're prompting on the fly, because you will have started to use ChatGPT, you will have created memory, you will have started to get some great results, and you want to ask it a quick question about something, you want to sometimes just enhance your prompt really quickly without going through the process of a reverse prompt or a prompt generator. You can ask these 5 really great prompt enhancers. So the first one is expand fully, no summarizing or condensing. I want the complete picture. And that's because ChatGPT likes to summarize and create concise outputs. And I think because it costs them a lot of money to give you lots of information. So if you ask it to please expand fully, it will give you more information than you necessarily, so that you have more to work with. The next one is to ask me 3 clarifying questions, one at a time, to understand the context before generating anything. That's, again, to get the information out of your brain and onto the piece of paper so that ChatGPT can give you a much better output. The better you brief it, the better your output will be. The next one is write like a human, no AI-sounding phrases or generic filler. Sometimes AI just needs to know that it mustn't sound like a human. It's a really great one. The next one to add is, if something I've asked doesn't make sense or could be improved, challenge it and tell me what I might be missing. That can be really helpful for when you're making decisions about something and you want it to challenge you and to really help you think through something that you may have a mental block over, or you may have blind spots, or considering that there might be some blind spots. I think that question might put me out of business, but that's okay. I want to help you as much as I can. All right, the next one is don't stop at the first obvious answer, go one layer deeper and show fresh thinking. I mean, even if you just say, give me non-obvious answers. Go one layer deeper. Show me fresh thinking. Show me fresh perspectives. Show me something that I haven't maybe thought about before. That is a really great prompt enhancer to get something out of it that is unique and innovative and creative. Alrighty. Okay, I mean, the use cases for this is just insane. There is just so much that you can possibly use it for. There's so much that people are using it for. You know, I've heard of examples of people who use it as they have created custom GPTs for the board members. I'm not sure how ethical this is, but this is an example, right? So I'm going to give you this example. They've trained it. They've interviewed people on a specific board member. They've got the profile of the board member, and you know, either their disc profile or their strengths finder of a specific board member, and they've trained it by interviewing other people on how that board member reacts and responds to certain things. And then what they do is they upload the board pack to this custom GPT, and it will spit out and say, leave out this part because the board member is going to not like the way that you phrase this, or rephrase this in a way that is more storytelling and less factual, because they are better at taking on storytelling results. So you're creating influence by understanding people. Again, I'm not sure how ethical that is necessarily, but it really is starting to create a way to, you know, influence and create some amazing results that we may not have had access to before. All right, within this template, I'm also going to share with you the ACEs prompting framework. You know, really there's also 4 steps that you can take when you are prompting. So if you are just prompting on the fly, always think about act as someone, act as a seasoned CFO with private equity experience, act as a leadership coach, act as the CEO of a company in the insurance sector. When you start to do that, it actually starts to really focus in on how it needs to act and the role that it needs to play to give you the best output. Make sure you're giving it context. Make sure that you're giving it all of the information, the critical background information that it needs to give you good output. Here's a great one. What is the end goal? Not what is how you want it to spit something out in a PDF. What is the actual end goal that you want it to do? Do you want it to drive more revenue? Do you want it to reduce costs? Do you want it to improve productivity? What is the end goal? This is a really great question, really great question we need to be asking ourselves every single day anyway. And then what is the structural style? So how do you want it to output what you want to get from it? The ACEs framework, really helpful for that. And then there's a few other things here that I'm sharing with you, which is the ChatGPT use cases for executives. Within that, it's going to show you some, you know, obvious uses, some obvious things that you can use it for, but also some non-obvious uses, some creative ways, and maybe that will open your mind to some other creative ways that you can start using ChatGPT for yourself. And then I'm also going to be sharing this link is to the custom instructions, custom GPT, so you can go and do your custom instructions straight away. Alrighty. Like I said, this is probably going to give you some time to work on those 80% tasks. But the next step is really about reimagining. And then when you have space, you can start to use ChatGPT for decision making, for challenging your blind spots, for being a thought partner, for idea expansion, for taking 5 different ideas, putting them all together and creating something completely new. This, I mean, every time I think about it, it blows my mind. And I really wanted to do the same for you, because I think, you know, I believe in the human brain and what it can possibly do. But when you have a tool like this, how much more amplified can it be? Obviously, if we're using it for good, and I do believe that 98% of people are generally using it for good. Inso says, I'm guessing that's Dan or Alex is saying, another good one is, are there any duplications or contradictions? Oh, that's a great one. So that's a prompt enhancer. Maybe I'll add that into the mix. Thank you so much, Alex or Dan. All right. Let's see what to do now. Okay, I'm going to go back to me. Here are the steps for what to do now. I'm actually pretty good with time. I'm impressed with myself. The first thing that I want you to do is I want you to write a sticky note. And On the sticky note, I want you to write Ask AI. And anytime you come up with a problem, a challenge, I want you to ask AI. Use the prompt generator to ask it about what it is that you're tackling with, or use the prompt enhancers to, just be a bit of a thought partner to spar with you on Ask AI. And keep it at your desk to remind you that you could probably solve some of these things with AI. It's not cheating, I promise you. Imagine being, someone coming to you with a calculator and you're saying, oh, no, I'm going to do this. I'm just going to do this, work out this mathematical sum, E equals MC squared. I'm going to, work out the theory of relativity with my, without a calculator. I'm not even sure if you can use a calculator, but anyway, it doesn't matter. You will want to use the calculator. We don't have time to not use the calculator anymore. So use AI. The next thing is make sure that you go in and you set ChatGPT up with your custom instructions. You've got that custom GPT to do that. The next thing to do is get a few wins this week. Use the prompt generator, the reverse prompt, the prompt enhancers. And what you'll start to see is you're going to gain back some time every week. And then you can start to reimagine your work, your business. Possibilities are endless. And if you are a leader in an organization, get your team using this as quickly as possible. Make it safe to fail, but make sure that they have access to this, because when they start playing, they will start to be creative and they'll start to come up with some ideas that you hadn't even considered. I also think that businesses have a responsibility to upskill their teams on this skill, because if you want to keep them and look after them in the future, they are going to need to have this skill. This is the new well-being and retention strategy. Just putting it out there. And then also, if you want to, remember I spoke about the mega day, if you want a mega day to build your productivity system using ChatGPT, but also using other system tools, creating some automation, there's so many other shortcuts that we can do here based on how you currently do things. Imagine just clicking a button and you had a board pack or a project plan or a strategy document. Imagine, right? I can help you do that. We can do that all in one day, get it all done. Just let me know, drop me an email, terez@terezrijkenberg.com, or you just drop your email address in a direct message in the chat, and I will send all of that information over to you. And then, let's just see, if you want a recording of this, I'm very happy to offer this to your team. If you want a recording and the link to the Notion templates, very happy to offer that to you too. Just make sure that you reach out to me. Thank you so much. If you need to leave, thank you very much and goodbye. For those that want to stick around and ask some questions, let's do it. Let's go. I'm ready. Go ahead. You're welcome to come online and ask your questions online or ask them in the chat. Let's do it. Thanks, Tina. Adele, many thanks. Have to drop to another meeting. Fantastic. So glad you could all come and join me here. Alrighty. What are your thoughts, questions? What do you want to talk about? Or we can even play, like we can create a custom GPT for you now if you want to. Let's do it. AI, have you tried using AI for scheduling? Kaja, do you mean the tasks? What do you mean for scheduling? Is it the task piece that you're referencing? This piece. I'm not sure if you were on when I was talking about that one. Let me know. Optimizing my time schedule or calendaring. So thanks, Paul. Okay, so, do you want to come and unmute yourself and just share with me what it is that you specifically, what is the end goal for you? Kaja?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
Okay, super. So I'm just thinking about using AI to basically sort my thoughts, kind of like you've been using, the prompts and having AI ask you questions about, okay, what's the way you're looking at things, but then using it to sort of get my to-do list out of my head, prioritize it, and then schedule it, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. So what I would do in that instance is to create a project that is for your I'm just brainstorming here, right? This might not be the specific for you, but just based on what you shared for me, I would create a project for you on your to-do list prioritization. So you would create a project, you would use the prompt generator to create a prompt for to create custom instructions for that project. Remember, when you to-do list prioritization, you create a project for it. You'd use the prompt generator to create your instructions for this project. And then what you might want to do is go into a new chat and just list out all of your to-dos. Tell me some of your to-dos. Content creation or and then in the instructions, and do you want to do that now? Do you want to do all this now?
I'm sure. I'm not sure. Well, I mean, if it's like if Lisa and Stephanie would be interested, or if they want to ask their own questions, I don't want to hog.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it's going to be helpful for them. Let's go copy, and we can. We're going to create a new. I'm going to use this.
Like I would even want to want it to ask me to come up with to help me come up with my to-do, so to say.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Overlook.
So sorry, carry on.
No, in case I overlook some, like what?
Yeah.
Oh, Stephanie says I'm here to hear other questions. I have a fear of missing out. Okay, so let's not do that. I can play with this myself. Very good, Stephanie. Thank you for jumping.
Well, I heard her response in a different way, to actually hear your question, to hear the output of this. But maybe Stephanie can.
Okay, Stephanie, please enlighten us.
Yeah, I see. I'm happy to hear the output.
Okay, yay.
Interesting, right? We create meaning out of things in different ways. Okay, so let's do it, right? So what would you like this prompt to be about?
So like, would you want me to say like how I would say it, and then you give some optimize it for me?
Thanks, Mr. Good to have you here. No problem to drop off.
I would. How would I say? Well, I would like this prompt to be about figuring out all my to-do lists, prioritizing them, and calendaring them. Does that sound right?
Yeah, say it again.
I would like this prompt to be about figuring out my to-do list, prioritizing it, and then scheduling it.
Great. I would like this prompt to be about figuring out my to-do list, prioritizing it, and then scheduling it. So I use the microphone to just do that. Saves me from typing it, and great. So let's see, what does it say? Act as a strategic executive productivity coach and thought partner. Your task is to help you unpack a complex and possibly messy to-do list, like containing a mix of high leverage strategic work, urgent operational items, and loose personal or admin tasks. First, guide you through a thoughtful triage process. Ask clarifying questions to extract what's on my plate right now: tasks, decisions, meetings, ideas, worries, and shoulds. Help me distinguish between strategic priorities, urgent but unimportant tasks, and noise. Use relevant mental models such as the Eisenhower matrix, RAFT, that's obviously accessing mine, or metacognition techniques to help me reflect and clarify. And then next, help me prioritize what matters most. Identify tasks that unlock momentum, reduce cognitive load, or are tied to key outcomes. Surface any themes or patterns like avoidance, overfunctioning, context switching. Propose bold reprioritizations if needed. Don't just optimize the list, help rethink it. Then support me to realistically schedule and time block my priorities. Consider energy, context switching friction, strategic versus reactive work. Factor in my existing calendar if I provide it, and challenge unrealistic expectations or overloaded assumptions. Deliver the final output as a clear, prioritized to-do list, ideally grouped by strategic value or urgency, a recommended weekly schedule or time blocking plan, reflection notes or provocations to help shift mindset, not just logistics, and use a tone that's candid, strategic, collaborative, like a trusted executive coach who gets both the psychology and the pragmatics. Avoid generic productivity tips or polished life hacks that want clarity, not clutter. How's that so far?
That's ridiculous in a good sense.
Yeah, right?
It's got that from basically, what were the 3 keywords I said? I said to-do list, prioritize, and schedule.
To-do list, prioritizing it, then scheduling it. The power is in the prompt.
Wow.
Power is in this prompt. The prompt is going to get you, it's going to create the framework that's going to then ask you for the stuff out of your head, which is the power of it. That's the amplification, is the tool of AI plus your brain. And I think we're forgetting a lot of it is we're just using it as a tool and we're forgetting about the brain part at the end of it. That's where the power will come in, right? So when you start to input all of this information, it's going to give you a much better output. So then there's also suggestions that it's offering, right? It's saying clarify what type of work is on the list, CEO priorities, personal errands, so we can tailor frameworks. Include a weekly capacity estimate. So what are your hours available? What are the existing commitments? So that the recommendations can actually be grounded on reality. Specify if this is a one-off cleanup or a weekly ritual. Decide whether to lean in more into tactical delegation or mindset level shifts. Mention if you want the assistant to hold you accountable. Like ask me what I actually did tomorrow. So you can add those suggestions in if you like, but these are also some questions. So, do you want me to act as a coach, a chief of staff, a planner, or a mix? What do you think?
I think more a planner.
Or you can mix a few things, right? But let's go with planner. Number 2, what kind of...
And can I,
yeah,
because I can see where this is going, right? Because this thing will ask me,
thanks, Stephanie. Sorry, Kaja.
yeah, sorry for hogging
Thanks,
your...
Stephanie.
Okay, sorry. This thing is going to ask me all these things.
Yeah.
And I can see myself getting sucked into answering all these things, and then rather than actually planning something, I'm just talking to ChatGPT. So is there, like, can we put a time constraint on how much time it's going to allow me to answer these questions?
Yeah, we can do that. So do you mean these questions to create the prompt, or when it's actually asking you to do the exercise, when you're using the project and the task?
I want to say the combination, but
Combination, yeah. So in this, you don't have to answer all of these questions. So you can just pick out the ones that are important to you, and you can go, oh yeah, I want it to be a planner. And maybe
the use case, like the one I'm reading, is it for today, this week, or long? I mean, that's probably useful. So it's like, let's do a week or something, and then
a week. So I just reference it by the number, a week, and then please add a limit when using this prompt. I want it to only take me long to go through this process.
well, I guess we're not going to do that now, but
No,
let's say 30 minutes. I think that's okay.
30 minutes.
To get
We're going to bake it into the prompt, right?
Yeah.
So you want to, I always just check, you want a weekly planning prompt framed with the lens of a strategic planner, not a coach or therapist. The goal is reprioritization, practical scheduling, clear action within a 30-minute window. There we go.
Cool.
Then it's got the next iteration. So it's like, it's even breaking it up now. Like step 1, fast extraction. Prompt me with sharp, time-bound questions to quickly brain dump what's currently on my plate. It's really adjusted this to that time constraint that you have. And then it's obviously going to keep, this is the prompt generator. It's going to keep giving you suggestions and keep giving you questions, but you can stop at any time and you can use this as your custom instructions to create or to do this prioritization. So I'm just going to say here, get started. Let's just test it, right? And it says here, let's kick off with step 1, fast extraction. So I've given it the prompt in this project. So you can always go back to this project. It's going to keep an archive of all of the ones that you've done in the past, but it's going to do the same thing. You're just saying get started. Rapid fire prompts, keep it short and sharp. What's currently on your plate? What's making noise in your head? What are the few big things you actually want to move forward this week? Boom. What do you think?
I think I'm not going to start it now because it'll be 30, what did we say, 30 minutes? But
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's crazy. I've used AI for so many things, and I keep, getting inundated with social media ads for AI schedulers. And every time I see one of those like float by, I think, well, why should I buy one if I can just custom make one?
Yeah.
And I guess I can.
Yeah.
Pretty easily. Well, I'll try this out and then see how it works. But the
amazing.
is,
but also the prompts generator is going to now, when you use it and go through this process, it's also going to still be referencing your memory. So I'm not going to give you this prompt now because it's not going to really be as helpful as if you've gone through this process yourself within your own account.
Yeah. I love it. Thank you
Amazing.
so much.
So, thank you so much, Kaija, for sharing your example. Loved having you here.
Yay. All right. Thanks so much. Gotta go. Bye.
Okay. Bye. Bye.